Hello and welcome to the Virgo New Moon. We have Sun and Moon together at 21 degrees of Virgo and a Mercury who is about to go direct as of tomorrow. So let's talk first about the specifics of what a new moon represents, and then we'll get into the Mercury retrograde. We're going to add in the elements of the grand trine that is happening at the time of the new moon, which will continue to develop over the course of the week, how you can use that energy to improve upon the patterns and structures in your life. And then we'll talk briefly about Venus and Jupiter being in their 90-degree angle. So to get started, the new moon is the end of the previous lunation, and it's the pause before we start the next lunation cycle. So where we're at currently in the sky clock is ending the lunation cycle which was in Leo. Leo lunation cycle is about rediscovering the brilliance of our own self-interested nature. What it is that we find interesting about ourselves and being in our bodies. And ultimately, Leo has to do with becoming so full of yourself, becoming the one that you love so much that that energy bubbles over and becomes something so big, like this huge auric field that is magnetic and radiant and invites other people to also love themselves in their own unique way. So Leo, the lunation cycle in Leo is really about becoming the love of your life, becoming the charismatic leader of your own life, and shining so bright that by your presence alone, you invite other people to shine at their fullest potential. Like, if what is so interesting about you that you can inspire someone else to become the one that they are so interested in themselves. The Leo lunation cycle shows us why we are so interesting and what reasons we would love ourselves. It shows us about ourselves. And so once we are filled up with ourselves, I know it sounds maybe like full of yourself, that has been used as a derogatory statement, but we are reframing a lot of the words that we have been using, and this statement is one of them. So becoming so full of yourself that you're literally overflowing with the love and beauty that you are imbued with. And as you do that, other people around you are invited to do the same thing. So that's Leo. As we move into this pause at the new moon, we reflect upon all the ways that we do love ourselves. And as we start to move into Virgo lunation, which I like to take the pause, like tonight, 6:39 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is when the sun and moon will have their exact conjunction. And it's going to take about a day, maybe a little bit longer for me where I live, to see the first crescent moon. The day before the new moon, the day of the new moon today, and the day after new moon, all in Virgo. So very, very Virgo time. As you can see, we have Sun, Moon, and Mercury in Virgo, and we'll talk more about the Mercury process in just a minute. But through these 3 days, really getting into closing up the Leo season, finding out what is it about me that is so magnificent. And as we get into Virgo, we start to put all of those self-love reasons and the light and the magnificence of the way that your unique diamond, Leo is associated with the heart, and also its planetary co-respondent is the sun. So like the way that the sun shines equally over all of creation, no matter what, like that, we are able to shine in all times and spaces, no matter what, even if the shine has a flavor of something that, maybe isn't the just joy and exuberance of Leo, the shine is still there. As we get into the Virgo lunation, we begin to make a daily habit and ritual of that self-love. So from what we've discovered during the Leo lunation, now we start to implement a strategy to bring all of that love and light and exuberance and joy and that magnificence that you are as an individual. Now you're going to bring that into reality through your strategies and your daily routines. So maybe you're going to make a plan. Okay, I'm going to wake up at whatever a.m. I'm going to do this certain, maybe I'll tell you my schedule. I'm waking up, doing a brief run, doing a yoga asana practice, doing all of my cleansing routines. By the time it's about 7 a.m., I've taken care of my body. I've got blood pulsing through my muscle tissue and into my brain, and I've had a bunch of great ideas. By 7 a.m., I'm ready to get to work. And now, whatever that looks like for you, this Virgo lunation, and I'm speaking ahead about I've been looking at this chart for about 2 weeks now. I've been really looking forward to this lunation cycle. But what we're doing as far as our sacred work being what it is that you are uniquely, go back to that Leo season, what is it that is so special about you that you and only you are able to bring into reality? So Virgo is known as the priestess, the priest, the one who tells what time it is, who initiates the ceremonies and the rituals. Virgo is committed and devoted to recognizing the natural patterns in life and perfecting them. So one thing about Virgo, we always will hear that they're so critical and they're so neat freaks and all of this. They might come across as critical because of this one thing. They are masters at pattern recognition. So they're looking at the pattern, and I'm not talking about your Virgo friend, but maybe I'm thinking of one person I know that's very Virgo. It's not your Virgo friend or you if you're a Virgo. It is the Virgoan energy within all of us. So you have Virgo on your chart. It could be in the first house and you're a Virgo rising. It could be on the midheaven, and the Virgo energy is how you contribute to society. It could be in the 7th house, and that would be the type of relationship partner that you're choosing. So depending on where Virgo is in your chart, that's where this energy comes out most for you. But we all have Virgo. And so I'm not talking about if you were born during Virgo season. But we all have something that we are devoted to. And so Virgo as an archetype is a master at pattern recognition. And so when there is something noticed within the pattern that could be a little different, and we notice that, the Virgo energy is the one who's going to say, hey, what's this? Like, I'm noticing this. Why are you doing that? How is that working for you? Maybe you should try doing X, Y, or Z. And that is not critical. It is a strategic implementation of something that they have noticed. So there was a time when people were talking about this phrase when they're saying, who cares? Basically, it's like you're walking along and you hear somebody give you advice, but you didn't ask for the advice. There was a phrase for it a couple years ago. I personally love when I hear something like that, because if it's not useful, I don't care. I'm not bothered by the fact that they said something. I'm very Virgo. I mean, I have a very strong Virgo structure in my chart, so maybe it does bother you, and that's fine, but I'm going to offer you this little piece of perspective change. The next time you get unsolicited advice, that's the phrase, take what you can from it. Maybe you just notice the person's eyes and how they're dressed, and you're able to see something that could be useful in your life. Or maybe there's a piece of something that they said that you can apply somewhere. I'm offering that as a, just see what happens during the Virgo lunation if you do receive unsolicited advice, or even just information getting dropped in. Why? Because we are going to be in this Mercury situation where Mercury is going direct. Mercury will have been in Virgo for, I think it's 109 days or something like that, where that's a very long time. The whole Mercury retrograde stayed within the sign of Virgo. This next 2 weeks especially, so much of the Virgo architecture is coming through. And so what is that? As I mentioned, Virgo has to do with pattern recognition, recognizing the threads that we weave to create the pattern of what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. So Virgo has everything to do with our mundane tasks. I wake up, I oil pool, I brush my teeth, I dry brush my skin, I drink some warm lemon, honey, ginger water. As soon as I'm already sweating by the time I've done all of those things, because that hot water with the ginger warms me up. Now I'm going to take a run. I'm looking at the sky. I'm connecting with nature, looking at the plants. And all of those little tasks, this is what Virgo is about. I had mentioned this maybe last year in a Virgo video about Virgo's planetary co-respondent. And there's a lot of debate around, is it Mercury? Is it Vesta? I have always felt that Mercury does not gel all the way with the Virgo archetype. And the reason is because Mercury is really quick and just go, 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 go. Thinking, doing. It's very active and fast. Virgo is meticulous and strategic. Mercury, as a planetary force, is not so much meticulous or strategic. So I had received a piece of wisdom about the planetary co-respondent with Virgo being the entire asteroid belt, which was once a planetary force that exploded into creating all of these asteroids, and each of these asteroids having a small piece. If you've ever gotten into asteroid astrology, it is fascinating. Just brief side note, when you look, you can pull up names of people in your life and they will be at some part on your chart. Sometimes they're not. But my best friend at one point, I was like, hey, let's just look. And I was on his north node and he was on my north node. Our names, like our actual first names on the nodal axis, which is the north node, is where we're going to. It has to do with progress, our destiny, our life purpose. And so that friendship was like very part of a very progressive part of our lives. Anyway, looking at the asteroids, you can see they are the fine details and minutia of life, the mundane details of life, and that is exactly what Virgo represents. So we only have about 9 days of Virgo season left, but we are just starting the Virgo lunation, which is working our inner reality, how we emotionally conceptualize and connect with ourselves and with our environments. So we still have a good 28 days to work with that Virgo energy. So as we're working with that, what are we going to do? We're going to look at the patterns in our life and we're going to see, does this match with that self-love that I have? And so this is where we make our self-love become a discipline. And I mean discipline in the way of you are the disciple of your own heart. Leo represents the physical heart and also the metaphysical heart, which is like how we regulate and move blood through our body. Oh, I can't say that anymore because I received some scientific information about how blood actually moves in a spiral through the vessels and doesn't so much need the pump to push the blood, that it was going to move anyway. So that just, but the heart still is this, of course, we can't live without it. It is so magnificent and so powerful, and it does inform the movement of the texture of the blood. Is the blood thick? Is it thin? How we are going to be able to oxygenate our lungs and have breath movement through our body, connection with our heart, our head, our guts. So it is the central, just like the sun is the central heat. Our heart is the central heat that gives us warmth. And I mean warmth in the sense of even the metaphysical of, like, when you get around a person and if they're anxious, there's an angst in the room. If you get around a person and they are very calm and peaceful, suddenly there's a peace in the room. So our hearts are like these tuning forks among many things. So that's some Leo things. But now when we get into Virgo season, we're able to take the wisdom of the heart and become the disciple of our own heart, the disciple of our own love, and make a discipline out of the self-love and create a form with it. Bring it into day-to-day reality. Now, Virgo is also the opposite sign to Pisces. Pisces is where we dream, where we have the vision for our life. I just heard a big echo. I have my drum right here and I can hear like this resonance with that. So Pisces, being the opposite side of Virgo, is also really reiterating what is your dream and what is the dream that was being fulfilled when you were created, like when you incarnated into merging the spirit, the light, with matter of your mother and father's genetic material, the merging of spirit and matter. What was the dream or the prayer for your embodiment, either from your parents or from Great Spirit Creator? So Pisces is about that dream, and also your personal dream, the personal wish and dream that you have, the vision you have for your life and what you think you're doing, or what your heart is wanting to do, what your soul is wanting to do, to experience, to be. Pisces, being opposite Virgo, is showing us that vision and dream needs to have a detailed strategy. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Every single thing that you do in a day is part of what is bringing you to the bigger vision of your dream. So as you're setting your new moon intentions, the first thing you're going to do is look at what house is Virgo for you. And the house is going to show you what area of life that you are focusing on, the small details, the mundane details of life. So you're going to look at the house, and let's expand a little bit. If you don't know the house, you don't know your chart, I'll put a link and you can go online. And I also have a tutorial that teaches you how to use the astro.com. So you can find your chart. You're going to look for this symbol, which, can you see it? This symbol, which it looks like intestines, like swiggle, swiggle, and then a line that goes down. And that's Virgo. And then the houses, you're going to look right in. I have the earth covering it so you can't see, but what you'll always know is that AC means ascendant, or it's the rising sign. So that was what was on the horizon at the time you were born. And that's always going to be house 1. And then they number in a counterclockwise direction. So it's going to be the horizon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to get to 10, and that's going to be either 9, 10, or 11 will be the peak of the sky, which is known as the career area of the chart. So that's the first thing you're going to do. Look at where this is for you personally. Now, the next thing we're going to do is add in the fact that at the time of the new moon, sun and moon are almost perfectly in a 120-degree alignment with the planet Uranus. And then they're also in a loose 120 degree, means not exact. This will perfect over the next few days. For the moon, it will perfect over, let's see, this is going to be tonight, tomorrow morning. It will become a perfect 120 degree. And then over the next 21, like the next 7 days, 6 to 7 days, the sun and Pluto will become perfect. So let's not talk about that too much right now, but what I really want to talk about is the sun and moon being in almost perfect alignment with within 1 degree of the planet Uranus. So I've recently been studying, I read Liz Green's Uranus book almost fully 3 times already since June, because that's when I'm in the Uranus opposition, the very well-known midlife transition point. So I am really interested and fascinated with the Uranian topic right now. And so this new moon being in a harmonious, first of all, what does that mean? 120-degree angles are harmonious, and that means that they're sharing positive flow of energy to assist something happening. So we've discovered already what is Virgo about, the new moon, planting new seeds for perfecting the patterns of our life in a specific area that's going to be defined by what house Virgo is in for you. Now, when we add in this layer of the Uranian trine, this is telling us that there is something radically unpredictable that can change the course of humanity. So Uranus has to do with beyond Saturn's boundaries of our own ego identity. Anything within Saturn's boundaries has to do with our own self-identity. And anything beyond Saturn is considered to be transpersonal, which means it isn't about you. It's not about you, but you will be part of the evolutionary process of Earth. And so with this Uranus being at a 120-degree angle, Uranus is in Taurus, which has to do with our resources, the way we manage resources, our relationships, because relationships, first of all, they are in themselves a resource. Our health, which is associated with Taurus, is a resource. The energy running through our body is a resource. So all of those things combined with who we are in relationship with, that's most likely who we will be sharing resources with. And Uranus having to do with technology. Anytime there has been a big technology advancement, it changes humanity. It changes the course of where we're going. It changes the way our brain wires off. The wiring in our brain sends impulses back and forth. Technology changes us. You know that because if you, like me, have started having dreams where you're scrolling, that's one way of knowing that the technology has changed you. And of course, there's so many other ways. We are thinking so much quicker. We're breathing faster. We're becoming more of the technology that we are using. And I'm not going to talk about what I think about that. Is it good or bad? It's all relative to who you are, what you're doing on the earth, and, you know, what are you wanting to do with that. But this 120-degree angle is showing us that there is something that is making it easier for us to access inner technologies, technologies associated with the earth. The one thing comes to mind is this electroculture. I don't know if you've heard of it. I'm really into permaculture, and it's basically taking copper wire and attaching it to your gardening things, your trees, your flowers, even you can wrap around, just look it up, electroculture. Basically, it has so many benefits for improving the conditions of the soil, and therefore improving the conditions of what's happening with your plants. So that is a technology, even though it seems so simple. Like, there are so many technologies with our breathing patterns that we can do, that we are masterful of if we learn to do them, because we know how to do them. Actually, it's a remembering how to do them. And it's also showing us that there can be unpredictable, huge global shifts in the economy, because Taurus has to do with, as I said earlier, resources. So economic changes. I see something with cryptocurrency 100%, because since Uranus got into Taurus in 2018, I believe it was, there has been a huge shift where, like, even normal people are getting on board with the what do you call this, cryptocurrency. So the new moon being in this alignment is giving us also the opportunity to see where we are with our own evolutionary process. I gave a reading the other day for somebody who's having Uranus transiting over her midheaven. Midheaven is contribution to the world. And it's like that the Uranian transits are showing us where we are becoming transpersonal in a way, that where we are able to, like Prometheus, steal fire from the gods to help humanity in some way. And of course, there's repercussions for that. But we're all being asked in some way to come out more with our sacred work, our unique individual soul imprint of something that only we can do, and to share that harmoniously in a big, unprecedented way. Because Uranus also has to do with something that's never been done before, things that it hasn't. Of course, I think everything has been done before at some level by somebody, but to do it now in a new and innovative way. The last thing I will touch on is that Venus is traveling in the sky with Juno. Juno has to do with marriage, relationships, finances, shared resources. It's a lot like Venus, except for Juno is more also associated with military protection of communities, protection of royalty. So there has a little bit more of a justice connection with Juno, protecting children and women. Venus and Juno traveling together is really showing us something about femininity and women and protection, the evolution of femininity, and those two bonding together. Like they're traveling together for a while in the sky together in Leo. So that in a challenging alignment with Jupiter, this is actually the third time that Venus and Jupiter will have come into this challenging alignment. And this is showing us where we have maybe overindulged, been overspendy on something that we're trying to show off, or trying to be, just went a little bit overboard on. Maybe it was Botox and lip injections, because Venus in Leo has to do with a sort of glamorous beauty. And Jupiter has to do with extravagance and excess, especially as Jupiter is in that retrograde motion, is showing us about maybe where we've gone a little bit overboard on relationships, on love. Maybe we've gone overboard, like I said, on the cosmetic surgeries, and it's pushing into not natural anymore. Venus has to do with natural beauty. So this third time that Venus and Jupiter come into a challenging alignment, it's giving us sort of like a remediation in a way, because the first hit happened in June. The second hit was, I believe, in August. And then now we're having the third. And this third one is kind of like, okay, you know, you saw what it was about for you personally. What I do is look at where's Leo on the chart, and I'll look at the house position and the house ruler of that particular planet that might be there in Leo. And then I look at Taurus, and this section of the chart, what was happening, where in that area have you been overindulging or over extravagant? And we're being asked to find a middle ground. So to come into some sort of harmonious, natural relaxation that is improving fertility, and whatever that means for you, whether your fertility actually like your body's fertility, or if it has to do with your ability to create in your garden, to create, you know, fertile soil, or the ability to create resources, whether that is creating your health as a resource, creating financial resources, again, soil, plants, because as we're going to see Uranus and Jupiter come into a conjunction in April of 2024, this is going to be something really huge for how we value our values. It's going to be a change in what those values are. Like currently, I think it's already changing. It's been changing, like what we find valuable. But as we're moving into 2024 and Uranus and Jupiter come into a conjunction, I think we're going to be finding more, the person who knows how to grow food is going to be becoming much more of a valuable person than the one who has just been working in a cubicle typing on some things for a fancy business. But when that business collapses, that person has no skills. So just a side note to maybe get some skills that your hands can do that are something beneficial. Grow food, learn how to harvest water, learn how to do things that create resources from your own body and from your own energy in your body. So with that, I will close. Happy Virgo New Moon. I'll see you again very soon, because I want to get into looking at the upcoming equinox and the eclipse season that we have coming up. So thank you so much for watching the video. I look forward to